And namaste and a very warm welcome to everybody. Thanks for stopping by rootsoflife.org. My name is Bruce Taylor. I'm a holistic wellness practitioner focusing on Reiki, meditation, plant medicines, tantric work, and overall energy flow. And my function and role here with Roots of Life is to walk with each and every one of you on your journey in your own personal healing. Because our path and our journey with healing is yours and yours uniquely, right? So we are in need of assistance on that path. Perhaps that's in understanding how that path looks, or where you're going and where you're going to put that next step, or deepening your practice, right? Having somebody in your corner that speaks your language on your own path to wellness. We need to have walked that path ourselves in order to be able to assist others on their own journey. And I want to take a moment here in this introduction to Roots of Life and myself and explain where I came from and explain how I ended up in wellness and then ultimately here to hopefully assist you on your journey. So this feeling of energy, many of you probably know what I'm talking about here. This will probably resonate with a lot of you. There's always been this feeling or this sensation inside of me, this kind of tingling or an awareness that something was kind of moving or is, kind of always there with me. I remember being a very young boy, maybe 5, 6, 7 years old, and just knowing that if I put my hands on my knees, that it just felt really good. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how to explain it. Now, of course, I know what I'm talking about. It's chi. It's the natural energy of all things, the energy of the universe, the energy from which we came and to which we will return, right? And I remember connecting into that feeling and that sensation of that stillness or that really beautiful sensation. And the longer I focused on my knees, then the more it would spread. And it would spread throughout the whole body. But in order to get there, I remember having to just sit without kind of a need to understand what it was, or even, I'm too young. I was maybe 6 years old, so I didn't even understand what it was. But I understood that if I sat, then I could feel it more, right? I could be in kind of a communion with this energy as it was. And that practice continued with me, sometimes more intensely, and sometimes I'd put it on the back burner, like we all do. But it stayed with me, and it started to develop. So, when I was in my early teens, I started to get into deeper meditation practices and started to explore yoga and Tai Chi. And, these things have always kind of been building in me because they were always pathways to connect to that energy, to that feeling of that beautiful little sensation that I would get when I'm, earlier in my life, when I'm 6 years old and feeling that connection in my knees and then through the rest of my body. Now, as that continued with me, of course, life happened as well, right? So I continued on. I started my career professionally as a secondary school teacher, focusing on economics and astronomy, philosophy, human sciences. Teaching is my hat. It's my passion in life. And I think you're going to find that here as well in Roots of Life. It was absolutely an honor to be able to walk with all of my students when I was in a more traditional teacher setting, just as it's an absolute honor to walk with all of you in a holistic wellness teaching setting. Now, my career as a teacher was built on my desire and my fascination with the world and my desire to understand the world. And so a lot of my teachings here at Roots of Life, you're going to see the same desire to break down the abstract into tangible and accessible and digestible pieces of information. I'm a firm believer that if we want to experience something, in order to experience it fully, we have to understand it first. Because our mind will form resistance to things that we're not able to understand or comprehend. And in the metaphysical world, just in that name in and of itself, the metaphysical world, it's more intangible, right? And so one of the big joys in my career here with Roots of Life and helping all of you is to take that intangible and break it down scientifically. Again, I have a background in astronomy, been working with, this, I think astronomy since I was probably 15, 16 years old. It became a hobby of mine. Then I studied it at university and I did research and everything. So a lot of that is going to come out, taking the seemingly abstract, the seemingly metaphysical, and distilling it down via different approaches and different lines of logic that everybody can hopefully comprehend and internalize themselves. That's going to make your journey that much easier. So as a teacher, I was first in the United States. I'm from just south of Chicago. And so I was teaching in the suburbs of Chicago, and then that ended up bringing me to Hong Kong. So I went international, still teaching the same subjects, but I went international, and it was a beautiful transition, but a very stressful one. And the teaching career was very frictional in many ways. And stress started to pile up. I started to suffer from anxiety, in particular health anxiety. My health, my personal health started to rapidly deteriorate. And that all culminated with a cancer diagnosis, actually. And yeah, it was a difficult journey, of course, right? Kind of this slow cascade down a hill where I was just getting more ill and feeling more out of balance and more fatigued, putting on more weight, and then ultimately the kind of the final blow was being diagnosed with cancer. But I always had this tool. I always had this little whisper inside of me. Remember what you used to do when you were 6. Remember that feeling. It's even giving me goosebumps right now to say this. But remember that feeling inside, that stillness of that energy. Return to it. And so I did. And it wasn't easy, but I returned to my practice of Reiki, which I had really started to pick up in 2006 in earnest. I returned back to my yoga practice that I had been doing for, at least 2/3 of my life at that point. I returned back to my meditation practice and my Tai Chi practice and my practices to connect into the flow of energy. All of those have been there. It's as if I had planted the seeds and then allowed them to just become kind of dormant, waiting for this rain of stress and health issues to finally fall on those seeds and let them take root and help me return back to that practice. And so after teaching in Hong Kong for many years, I finally left that profession and moved fully into holistic wellness with a focus, first off, on Reiki, which is energy healing, also meditation, mindfulness, breath work. A lot of these modalities are all kind of functioning to bring us to the same root, which is our internal space, right? So I left my teaching career, moved into holistic wellness, and was very fortunate to be one of the first Reiki practitioners in the entire city of Hong Kong to be working in the medical field. I was very grateful and very fortunate to be working at the Vitality Center in Hong Kong, which is one of the city's oldest and most respected holistic wellness and Chinese medicine centers. And there, alongside many beautiful Chinese medicine practitioners and doctors, I was able to further develop that kind of teacher hat, or that need to understand, right? That ability to walk alongside professionals and understand from a Chinese medicine perspective how energy works to heal, how we can look at the resistance in our lives and find that those are the precursors or the triggers of our diseases. And so bringing all of that together really started to really solidify my focus on Reiki. And that focus ended up bringing me to Japan to study in the birthplace of Reiki, something that I'm very grateful for, the ability to make many pilgrimages back to Mount Kurama, the site of Usui Sensei's first enlightenment, or the first kind of channeling of Usui Reiki Ryoho. My time in Japan has connected me to my dear teacher, Hakutan Inamoto, and we've been working together for many years now. And all of that is helping to bring my Reiki practice back full circle, back to the roots, back to the traditional still practice of Japanese Reiki, which is really a practice of bringing all of this inside. And so what I seek to do with each and every one of my clients here via Roots of Life is meet you where you are on your journey, assist you where you are on that journey, and walk with you where you are on your journey. Knowing that I've come through a big, I hope, a big portion of my own journey to get to this point. It's not been easy. There's been a lot of friction. There's been a lot of health issues, but I overcame those. And now on the other end of that journey, it's as if I can reach out a helpful hand to each and every one of you and help bring you forward on your journey. You know, sitting here as a teacher and a practitioner and a master of many of these practices that I teach, it's my sincere desire to bring all of that forward in you. My work with you will be finished when you are the master that you're destined to become. And it's a beautiful thought, because what more could I give to the world? The things that have been passed to me so beautifully and with so much love and compassion and humility from my teachers, and the practices that have been with me my whole life, that have helped me through some of the darkest moments in my life. What greater gift and greater honor could there be to help others find that space, to pass that on to you so that you can pass that on to somebody else. So it's my absolute and sincere pleasure to be working with each and every one of you via my courses here on Roots of Life, via mentorship, or however we may interact. I hope you find your time here on Roots of Life enjoyable and beneficial. I can't wait to work with each and every one of you. And until we meet and until we chat, be well and in Ga Shao.